Okay, it is 5 o'clock on October 11, 2016. I will call this month's Energy Awareness Commission meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is let's review the minutes and look over our September 13th, see if we've got any questions.
I sure am,
Didn't realize we got that much done.
because I don't have the other one. Oh, here it is. No, that's it.
If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, and we've got Conservation Improvement Expense Report ending September 30th.
All right, Commissioners. Well, not a lot of major changes. I guess the two to look at would be furnace cleaning rebates. Not a lot that's come in so far, but I expect that to be around that $30,000 mark as in similar years. And then the furnace rebate program, I guess I expect to see a bit of an uptick there as well. We may or may not hit that 25,000 for this year. Looks like about halfway through at this point in the year. But with the heating season coming up, we tend to get an uptick in those rebates.
Of course, you balance that with our air conditioning rebate. Probably aren't going to need too many of those anymore.
Yeah, those will probably slow down. Residential lighting rebate, looks like we've hit that 5,000 mark. I would expect that's pretty consistent month to month. And then our solar electric rebate of note have exceeded that $10,000 mark. I've allowed one extra rebate to be processed past the 10,000 just to lower spending through this point in the year. I'd say that's kind of a summary of the key aspects that I've seen. Are there any questions?
Are there any more solar electric rebates pending, William?
There is actually another solar electric rebate that's pending, and they may in fact complete it this year. Maybe up and running by this year. We're still waiting to approve it due to a potential, I guess many of the systems we've seen in the past have been about 1-to-1 maximum for what they would put into the grid versus use. For this particular customer, they may be producing much more than their home currently uses. That may change in the future, but just a slight bit more review before we give that final approval. However, that may still be rebated this year, depending on where our funds are at by the end, by the end of December.
Our totals look like we're about half
Yep.
half spent, and we're about 2/3 of the way through the year. So overall, we're in good shape. It's just some funds are shorter, but we can adjust that next year, correct?
That would be correct. We could certainly adjust. I would say our total spending is going to be around the same. Guess a little bit less due to lower natural gas required spending. But we could certainly shift some of these categories around. Furnace cleaning, furnace rebates may actually need to be bumped up slightly higher. Industrial rebate may need to be reduced.
Any other questions or concern with the expense report this month? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve the expense report.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We've moved on to that. Now, I understand that we have an adjustment to our rebate and conservation calendar, William. Huh? That is going to be deleted for today's agenda.
Well, no, the rebate and conservation calendar, it's just I guess this would just be our preliminary outline of what we hope to cover for topics this year. And just invite some of our commissioners, if they have any additional topics to consider, to voice those now, or certainly if you've heard anything from the community, let them know. It's always possible. We tend to mainly focus on residential side energy conservation tips or safety tips. But certainly we're open to suggestions. There are a few areas where I guess some of these highlighted areas in this are potential areas where we could be looking for another topic.
Do you think you might switch the furnace installation and rebate into November and the recycle your holiday lights and the holiday light safety into December?
Yeah, I think those are
I don't
pretty
know.
flexible.
I think they're gonna,
categories.
people are probably looking at installing new furnaces in October, November. The only way they're gonna probably install in December is if it fails.
And as they're taking down their holiday lights, the recycle thing is going to be right there for them
Right.
on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, that's certainly something we could look at. So just moving the furnace install rebate to November and the recycle your holidays to December.
Well, October also has holiday lights.
So you could almost,
Bump them all.
yeah, bump them all, move the furnace into October, furnace install and clean, because you're gonna wanna clean it before you start using it. And then move your holiday lights.
We'll move December's topics to October. Move October to November. Move November to December. Is that going to make some sense? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
We have consensus on that?
Yep.
I
And you'll,
think so.
yeah, and you'll keep public power still in October, because that's when it is. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, William, we can ask Eileen to adjust accordingly.
Yep, that's
Okay.
correct. And, I think still possible to make adjustments, even above and beyond that. There's still a bit of time. These aren't set in stone at this point. We'll also be reviewing, I guess I collect some other utilities newsletters and kind of scour them for potential topics. So it's possible we may add or subtract from this list, but good time at these meetings to just get a general feel for the topics and if we're going in the right direction.
So what is line worker rodeo?
I guess I was looking at the MMUA puts out a magazine, and it's an event for line workers to demonstrate their skills and also learn, safety maneuvers. And that was hosted in Minnesota this year. I thought had some kind of interesting pictures of the event, and maybe looking for an area. We may just do a small photo subset, put that into the calendar.
And we should get our cameras out and get some photos in, huh?
Yeah, that's correct. I guess to maybe move on to item number C, the community input. I think this year we've received quite a few photos back in. I guess looked at my email submissions, and it looks like many of them are from some of the same local area customers. And then a few of them are some of the submittals from last year as well. But pretty good pool for photos this year. But still could use more. I don't think it's set in stone yet on the photos that we'll be using for the calendar. And certainly anyone out there taking some local photos can submit them to us. There's still a bit of time.
Any further discussion on our rebate and conservation calendar? If not, we can just touch on the low-income program. William, you want to update us on progress of that?
Yeah, that's correct. And I haven't had a chance to speak with the Minnesota Valley Action Council this year on some of their changes that we'll need to have for the low-income program. I guess this would be our third year participating in the low-income program with Minnesota Valley Action Council. You know, one potential change that I'm looking at would be, currently we have CFLs listed as one of our conservation measures. I believe the cost effectiveness of LEDs will, I guess, surpass CFLs at this point. And I'm ready to make changes there. There's also been some discussion of potential reductions in the maximum amounts listed here. And I think once I have a chance to speak with Minnesota Valley Action Council staff, we can better determine where to reduce those maximum levels to. And then usually around December of the year, we try to give that to the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission for final approval. So my hope is that by November, we can have it for the Energy Awareness Commission agenda and maybe give it the green light.
William, would it be possible for them to have a representative at our November meeting?
That may be possible. I could.
They have presented to us in the past, and I think that's very helpful when they have a representative here.
I can see if they'd be available for that meeting time. And I guess there may be more discussion. We may need to determine a meeting date for that time.
Okay, that will conclude the discussion on the low-income program for this month then. It brings us to our next meeting. Inasmuch as we are scheduled to meet November 8th, which is an election day, I would prefer not to do that. We've been talking internally about Wednesday, November 9th at 5 o'clock. I believe the commission room would be available to us, and if we can all make it, I'd entertain a motion to change our next meeting date to November 9th.
I'll offer that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to set our next meeting for November 9th, 5 o'clock. Any further business or comments? None received. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll offer that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.